Hi, this is Randy Randall of No Age and host of the podcast Hyphenate with Randy Randall. I want to welcome our newest sponsor of the show, DistroKid. DistroKid helps musicians get their music on all the major streaming platforms, and artists keep 100% of their royalties. Hyphenate listeners get 30% off at distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate. Again, that's distrokid.com/VIP/HYPHENATE. Go get your music streaming everywhere now. What's happening? Thanks for tuning in to Hyphenate Halftime. I'm here with my very good friend, Mr. Aaron Farley. How are you doing this morning, Mr. Aaron Farley? Monday, April 29th? August 29th.
April, August. It's just one of those A months. It's a month.
It's just one of those days.
Yeah. It's just one of those days. Old Fred Durst. Always in our lives, one way or the other.
I've been seeing clips of like Woodstock 99. I think it's the 25th anniversary of it, and everyone's like, it was terrible. We all saw the documentary, but I just got to say, look at this lineup. And I was like, yeah, this is horrible too. The lineup was bad. The conduct was bad. The organization was bad. It was, don't try to, reminisce like, but that was like Buck Cherry and like Limp Bizkit and like Red Hot Chili Peppers all shared one stage. I'm like, no, it was horrible.
You're like, yeah, we remember those times. It is crazy that well, I don't know about Buck Cherry, but that
or I don't know if it's Buck Cherry, but when the came in through the window,
yeah,
and I. Dun, 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 dun.
What was that?
19.
It was 99.
I guess 99 was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Good riddance.
Third Eye Blind. I don't know. Third Eye Blind was kind of a good band, right? Weren't they known as like a band that was?
Sure. I don't know. What was their song? I don't know the Third Eye Blind song.
I don't know. There were a couple of those.
Amber is the color of my energy.
No, that's 311. You don't mess with 311.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Randy.
Sorry.
We've already talked about this.
We've talked about this. You're right. No. What is the Third Eye Blind
311 gets
song?
A pass. They are the Dave Matthews of pop punk.
Of shit music?
No, pop punk. They're the Dave Matthews. They just kept going forever. They created their own lane and just said goodbye to everybody.
That's right.
They said, you know what? We're going to do our summer concert series. You don't have to like us, but we're just going to live on a huge ranch somewhere. And
Semi-Charmed Life? What was Semi-Charmed Life? How's it going to be? Do you know any of the names of any of these songs? Jumper?
I know the name.
Never Let You Go?
Is this Semi-Charmed Life? This is Third Eye Blind. Oh, yeah, that's their big song. Semi-Charmed
An American
Life.
rock band formed in San Francisco in 1993.
Okay.
Don't know what a Semi-Charmed Life is. Can't even. Maybe it's the thing. If I heard it, I would go like, "Oh yeah, that's the thing."
Yeah, I got to bring it up.
You're gonna bring it up, okay? Can we play music on podcasts?
I mean, we should be able to. It's Spotify, right? Or I guess you're on all the things, right?
I don't know. Let me just hear if I'll play it in the background. Oh, of course I got like ads. It's terrible. Can't play this for anybody. Oh, do you have it? Okay, you're starting it. Oh yes, I thought this was Hanson. Yeah, that's not Hanson.
But wait,
now hold on. Now pull up Hanson. Wasn't that their song?
Oh, how dare you, Randy? No, they were another do song.
Mbop.
Mbop.
Mbop. Okay, put your song back on. Put Third Eye Blind on.
No, this is Mbop.
Mbop. I don't know.
What a weird the music industry. Am I right? Wait, I'm gonna look up that Woodstock 99 lineup.
Oh, but that was the thing. I was saying Fred Durst's voice was very high, which again, that's whatever happens to everybody.
It's just one of those days.
Yeah. It sounded really, high. Oh my God. So I have new music since we're here in Shitty Music Town. We'll just kick off with our continuing segment of shitty music. Ryder, my oldest, has moved from, I think he had his mind blown with the pop band AJR.
Yeah.
I think he's still a fan, but he's now discovered through Fortnite and the Metallica thing. I guess not all. They had other music on too around this era.
Okay.
There's a band called Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh yeah,
which I have never heard of.
No,
no. I mean, maybe I saw like a skull. Maybe I see a logo. There's a skull or something with the sevenfold.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shan, my wife was like, he likes five folds of something. Avengers of 5.
5 Avengers.
Like, five Avengers band. What is it? Have you heard of them? I was like, I've heard this. It sounds like watered down Metallica.
Yeah.
But now we've listened to more of it. I'm like, oh, so whatever record he's playing, it literally sounds like each song is a ripoff of another song. It's like one's kind of like a AC/DC, does like arpeggiated kind of like Thunderstruck, kind of thing. I'm like, okay, that's the Thunderstruck song. And then this morning he put on another song. It's called Acid Rain, and it just sounds like November Rain. Like it really feels like just like a calculated. It's a slow piano ballad with a long guitar solo. It's called Acid Rain.
Does it have Ricky Rackman jumping through the wedding cake in the video?
Was he in that video?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I think he's the one. He either jumps through the wedding cake or he gets thrown through the wedding. I think there was a whole podcast on it of what is the part of the story. Why did Ricky Rackman
November Raincast
jump through the wedding cake? And they try to figure it out the whole time. And I think the answer was, idea. I don't know. The director just said, let's now just jump through the wedding cake. And it was like, all right.
That's a great idea for a podcast series. I never thought of that, of just like dumb music videos. Like, what is the story? Like, take like one music video minute by minute, or like every 10 seconds, and just talk about the video.
Trying to get all the people involved. I mean, I've been in some since when I first moved here. I was a PA, and actually from meeting Sippy, Chris Sippy, who was a PA, and he had been a PA on a bunch of big like Coen Brothers movies and stuff, and which is why he was even in LA. I
told you I met him the first week he was here.
Well,
he came into Atomic Garage, the skateboard shop I worked on Melrose.
Right.
Like, hi, hey y'all, y'all skateboarders here?
Yeah.
I just came in. I was working on a movie.
Yeah.
Coen, could you believe it? I was like, yeah. Or I was like, and so it was literally like his first week here.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and wild. I met Sippy. Probably my first week in LA or second week, and he was neighbors with a friend of ours, and then we got to talking, and we were talking about somebody, and I'm like, Jason, did you say Jason who's an artist from Portland? And he's like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I know him, and we knew one of the same. It was like his best friend growing up.
Such a small world
in Mississippi. Anyway, I worked on a shoot because he got me. He was like, "Oh yeah, come PA on this for this band Mudvayne." Do you remember that band?
Ooh,
this was like 2000,
and like Slipknot ripoff.
Yeah.
Slipknot Junior.
Yeah, like they all. It was like kind of a mix between, or like their costumes and stuff were like Slipknot, but without the plastic mask. They just wore like makeup, like the guy from Limp Bizkit, like Wes Borland or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the bass player was like a super trained jazz bassist. Like, is this amazing? In between takes, he's like, oh
no.
But this was like week, I don't know. I was probably in town for a month, maybe. And
welcome to Hollywood, baby.
And we're just
Mudvayne.
In these big studios, and I was just like, whoa, what is this?
This is also the years of spending $100,000 on a music video.
On like a band who didn't even have a hit. Yeah. Who was just like, and I think they did well. Like they were in that like Korn, Ozfest, Limp Bizkit era time.
They're just one of those bands.
It's just one of those bands. And it's like white background, whatever. But then the second Mudvayne video that I worked on was
you were like in the crew. You were like one of the muds.
Yeah, one of the veins or the muds.
Oh my god.
And we shot out on location, and I don't remember the director, but it was pretty, like, I just remember it being like, if someone would have told me afterwards now that it was like cocaine fueled, it would make a lot of, it was someone who was very ambitious, and
The
did not,
director.
yes, and didn't
Yeah.
have the didn't have like the
Skills.
producer to rein them in and go, yeah, we can't do that this way. We need a lot more money to do what you're thinking of. This is not a
No, we just
full
need more
budget.
meth. We don't need more
Right.
money. We just need more meth, man. I know a guy.
Right, and we
Let's
ended up
let's go out to Joshua Tree.
we ended up out on the beach. Never do a metal video on the beach without like an amazing production crew behind, or like producer behind you that will stop the director from making bad decisions. And this is not a slight on whoever produced that video. I don't even know, because I was just a lowly PA getting like $75 for the day, for like an 18-hour day or whatever. But we ended up, he had medical equipment that like table, like chairs and like operating tables and all this stuff. And like on the beach, right? Like we had all this, which is very heavy stuff. So we had it.
No.
We had put all this medical equipment on the beach, and then it was supposed to be like whatever it was, final days, something. We had, and there was this old woman who was like an actor, and she was in like a white dress, you know, and she was supposed to be, I don't know what she was supposed to be, but she was like in the wind and the water, and he had her in the sand. And at one point she was like in the sand, and he's like wanted water to come over her, and this wave comes over the top of her and like hits like a piece of plywood that was on the, but goes, just barely misses her in the way, you know, waves. I mean, it's like, this is no joke. A real wave comes over the top. Someone reaches down. She's like now in a pit of sand under the water, reaches down and pulls her out.
Oh no, like, she was going to die.
Oh yeah. I mean, this was like, and I was like 25 maybe. And I was just going, wait, what is happening? And they're like, okay, we're not going to do that again. Okay, so let's do, and they just kept going. And I'm like, you guys almost killed this lady and us. There's like plywood.
What
like
beach were you on?
Oh, I don't even know. I didn't know California at all at that point.
Malibu somewhere.
Malibu, or I don't know, maybe down in the South Bay or something. And then, but then after that, so then obviously the tide was coming in, right? So the tide's coming in. So then they shoot this thing. They have a whole crane, like, you know, someone sitting on top of with the camera up above, and there's beautiful shots. And then afterwards, like, okay, cut. I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff that happened. Cut. And they're like, look out, the waves are coming in. So the waves have started like going over the medical equipment.
Oh,
and
God.
Like burying it in the sand, kind of. And then also, this is how strong the waves were, carrying the tables out into the ocean. So then we had to go walk out into the ocean,
swim out,
and try to get these tables that were floating out there. And we did it because I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess this is what you do. We're working, right? And boy, if I would have known now, it'd have been like, nope, those tables are gone, my friend. Those are going into the budget somewhere. This is not my problem. I'm not a lifeguard that saves tables.
You're a prop guard.
Yeah, the prop
PA.
guard. Yeah. And I'm sure that there were plenty of rules keeping that stuff from happening that we were not. I mean, we weren't in the union, so it was like, we're not, you know, you're kind of trying to keep your job with production companies and stuff. I don't know how we got on that one. Mudvayne. That's
the bullshit.
The 90s and 2000s were crazy.
It's just one of those days.
Yeah, it's just one of those days.
This is God, that band has just become so memeable. I think I was like at that point in my life, I was so over whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
You know, it was happening. And I think I knew Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
And everything else kind of just sounded like Rage Against the Machine. You know, like I was thinking, even like Limp Bizkit, I was like, this is just a bunch of doofuses that heard Rage Against the Machine and were like, I can do that.
And we're like, well, we're from Florida. I can kind of rap. I can make some raps. What if we did Rage Against the Machine with no substance? What if that's there's zero substance, but it sounds like Rage. That's good, right? You don't
Yeah,
want to
right.
want to mess up all your songs with all these politics and ideas.
Could write it from like a 10-year-old's perspective.
Totally.
Like we're just like instead of having like a political agenda or some kind of political like content in our lyrics, like what if it was just about like the anger you felt when you were like 10 years old and you didn't get any attention. And sometimes you just want to break stuff. You just want to go punch a hole in the wall.
Rage against your parents.
Yeah. Rage against your puberty.
Yeah, Rage against your puberty. I'm looking at the Woodstock 99 lineup. By the way,
God, okay.
Dave Matthews.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I didn't know.
He wakes up.
That was probably what led him to be like, yeah, no more of these. I'm just gonna do my own thing, guys.
Let's make our own festivals.
I'm gonna be out of the system. I'm gonna be my own guy. Buck Cherry.
I knew there's a Buck Cherry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sheryl Crow.
I'm sure she was horrified to be there. Just hopefully she had bodyguards or enough people around her just to get her the fuck out of there.
Keeping on the crows. Counting Crows.
Counting Crows was Mr. Jones.
Oh yeah, yep.
Right, that guy. Okay, I like those. Yeah, that's fine.
But then here's where it gets weird. Third Base. Remember Third Base? The white rap group from the late 80s, early 90s.
Were they still popular by then? No,
I mean, they must have been
a revival?
Doing a revival or something.
I guess because maybe Limp Bizkit requested that they be on there, so they don't look like the dumbest white rappers at the event.
Could be.
Can we get like legacy dumb white rappers?
Then here's where it gets good. The Offspring.
Of course.
Korn.
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit. Live. The String Cheese Incident. Vertical Horizon. I don't know them. They slipped through the crack somewhere. Yeah. Bush, Collective Soul, DMX.
Oh no, it's terrible. What is Collective Soul?
They had some songs.
I know the name. Okay.
Post grunge. They had some song called Shine. I don't know. DMX is amazing.
DMX. Wow, that's okay. So they're trying. It just feels like the worst. It's radio
all of it.
Or something.
DMX, Insane Clown Posse, Kid Rock, Lit, Metallica, Red Hot Chili Peppers, The Chemical Brothers, The Roots, Alanis Morissette.
Oh wow.
Bernie Worrell. And then Bernie Worrell was from Parliament Funkadelic.
Oh, okay.
He's like the.
But why was he there? Like, did he have a hit? Yeah.
I don't know.
And did somebody own like the?
I don't know who that is.
Did somebody own the like Woodstock name? Was there like did they create like after the Woodstock first? In '69, did somebody like become a yuppie in the '80s and just like, oh, no one's trademarked the words Woodstock.
Oh, they must.
We should trademark this, and then we can do it again for the 20th, and then for the 25th. I forgot there was 2 Woodstocks in the '90s.
There was another one.
Wasn't there 94 or 95?
Oh, maybe like after,
and then 99
after whatchamacallit.
I feel like there was
Perry Farrell. What's it called? Lollapalooza.
90s Woodstock. Because that was the thing. The documentary that came out that was terrible was like, oh yeah, this was all about.
Oh yeah, Woodstock '94.
Yeah, Woodstock '94. I think that was the really bad one, right? Or was that the '99 one that was really bad?
No, '99 was the really bad one. '94 is Aerosmith, Metallica, Nine Inch Nails, Blind Melon.
'94 was the mud one. Where everyone got hit with mud and.
Oh really? Is that the one with Green Day? I remember Green Day. Oh yeah, Green Day having like the mud thing. Yeah.
And then Nine Inch Nails were covered in mud.
Right.
Jesus.
Joe
Christ.
Cocker, Jackal. And so it went from mud to 99 was like fire. Right?
Fire and rape.
Yeah.
And everything, right? It was the terrible like sexual assault Woodstock.
Yep.
I didn't watch the documentary.
No,
it just sounded like such a bummer.
I don't
like all the bands were a bummer, and then the content was a bummer. Just everything was like, oh no, I was so happy to have nothing to do with this thing at the time, and even happier to not have to think about it 25 years later.
Yeah, I think that set the stage for making festivals safe, which was good. It's probably needed to happen. Not that we want anything bad to happen to anybody, but
one like the thing whole festival like culture. Happens. Yeah, I guess that was also the first year of Coachella. Was '99.
Oh, was it?
And that seemed to be a little safer.
Yeah,
I remember I graduated high school that year in '99, and Coachella was that summer.
All right,
but that was like Beck headlined, and it was like a 1-day thing. It wasn't like people camping out in tents or anything. It was just 1 day in and out at the polo fields.
Yeah, the first one that I went to was in 2000.
Okay. And then they took like a big break, right? And they took a couple of years off. They didn't do it.
Did they? I don't know.
I feel like there wasn't. I feel like it wasn't consistent. Like they tried it and like, okay, let's go back to the drawing board,
Oh,
and
maybe.
then
Yeah,
figured it out, and then did it like, yeah.
the first one I went to, I mean, I think it was 2000. It might have been later than that, but it was like Iggy Pop played, but like at
Oh,
3 o'clock
okay.
in the afternoon. Like he played really early, and which was cool because I just walked up and I was like, "Oh, that's Iggy Pop playing right there," and I had my camera and I was like
Did you have a photo
right next to the
pass or
stage.
no? No photo
No, you didn't
passes.
even need it. It was
Oh
like a
my god.
small. But the funny thing is, we had wristbands because I was with Travis at the time with Buddyhead, and then so we had gotten wristbands, but we didn't have backstage anything. And the funny thing was that the backstage wristbands were the same color as the underside of the regular wristbands.
Oh, so you just
So
flip
we
it
just
around.
flipped our wristbands around, and since we had cameras, we just looked like we belonged or something, I guess. And we just walked into the back, and then once we got back there, I think we got like photo passes because we knew some people. But that was the
That's
funniest. It was
wild.
like the Roots played, I think, and then and yeah, Iggy Pop. I don't remember a lot of the other
Yeah.
bands.
So it looks like the first one was 99. They took 2000 off, and then it
Okay,
became annual starting in 2001.
okay, so I must have gone 2001.
So wow,
Yeah,
crazy. Well, this 90s rock talk does
yeah,
put us in the vein, if we go back a few more years, of last week's guest, Mr. Troy Von Balthazar from Chokebore.
yeah. That was
Uh,
amazing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was really stoked to talk to him. It was a funny one. I've been following him online, and I was like, I wonder if I just reached out.
Yeah,
Just send an Instagram DM if he'd want to be on the pod, and he was agreeable, but we had to figure out the timing because he was in France,
yeah.
so it was either going to be really late my time or really late his time. We had to figure it out. Again, it's sort of similar to the week before, Trevor Montgomery. This is our two for international and international. What
International
do we call it?
half
Episodes.
July, half
Yeah,
July
half
international
July is
summer.
international things.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe next summer. Yeah, I'll take a month off and maybe I'll figure it out. Like Coachella,
Randy
should take a
Randall's
year off.
international summer pod.
I think next summer we really need to do like a European vacation
Yeah.
kind of thing and just have like, a whole, like, really lean into it. I don't think I quite had it.
You mean
Wasn't
go
prepared
tour
for it.
Europe for a month?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just drive around and see all the sites: Big Ben, Stonehenge, Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Just do the things you do.
Interview people on the way.
Yep, yeah. But at least have a four international guests.
Yes.
We could make bad jokes. Um, but yeah, but Troy's awesome, and yeah, and Chokebore. I mean, were you familiar with Chokebore
I
prior
mean,
to the episode, or what? Had they come across your? I mean, they were always underground, and I think kind of, were never really had the mainstream thing like we talked about in the interview. But
yeah.
how did
I
you know
mean,
them?
I knew Chokebore, but I never really listened to them. And then but the last couple days I've been listening to them, and I'm kind of surprised that they kind of went under my radar. Like music-wise, it's very
Yeah.
similar to what I ended up kind of listening to, obviously bands that were in that same vein or directly influenced by their music. It was like very kind of odd time signatures, a lot of time changes, a lot of like vocals and weird instruments and sounds, and I don't know. It's very cool to listen to. And even when he said that first record was only recorded in a day, and then like
Yeah.
recorded in a day and mixed in a day, and then you go back
Yeah.
and listen and you're like, wow, that's a lot of work. That's like, it's
It
not
was a
like a
different time.
well, it's
The
not
80s
like
were a different time.
yeah, and it's not like it wasn't like a album that didn't have that was very simple. It's like the sounds, like a lot of the songs sound very different from each other, and so I just kept thinking of the studio guy just going like, whoa, okay, next
Here's
one,
another one.
let's go. Where do I put the
Keep it
mics
going.
for this one? Oh, there's this.
But
Yeah,
it's a,
this
it
sound.
sounded like they were just touring their asses off or just playing a shit
Yeah,
ton too. So I'm sure
totally,
they were tour tight and just got in there and with one or two takes just were able to nail
totally.
each song. And
Yeah,
but yeah, touring out to record and then recording and then touring back. So it's like the recording of a record just happens to be a stop, like a long weekend on
yeah,
tour. I know that was
totally.
something bands used to do a lot more. I don't think we ever really. I never had that full experience. We did like a day in London at Southern Studios on a No Age tour. Like two of the members of Miki Miko had to fly back to the States, so we had a weird like 5-day window or like 7-day window between London and Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of time off. So we went into Southern Studios for one day and we did like 4 songs
Oh, that's
in a
amazing.
day, or at least the basic tracks, the guitar and the stuff. You know, that was for Nouns.
So you just
first record for
used
Sub Pop.
like you just hired an engineer there and just went in and
Yeah.
recorded.
Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
incredible, and that's such a legendary studio. Southern, it was the studio that Crass built, like in a flat. You know, for Southern Studios was their record label, and then became a distribution for so many of those sort of '90s, late '80s, '90s record labels.
Yeah.
But the studio was great. I mean, it was like Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds had recorded there, Sonic Youth had recorded there, obviously Crass had recorded there. It was like tons and tons. And Harvey Burrell was our engineer, and I think he had done a lot more kind of like industrial sounding things and other kind of like more electronic dark stuff. But he was great. He
That's
mic'd
awesome.
everything up, and and it was fun. It was fun doing that. But Troy, just made it sound like, they were just so committed to what they were doing. I loved hearing those kind of like those early days of like figuring it out as a band coming from Hawaii. I always thought that was funny that they're a band from Hawaii, but the music was so dark. It was nothing really. They didn't play that up as an angle.
Yeah.
That's so random.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, it's also a really, I mean, they kind of had similar, like as a very 90s sound of the band, but then really unique to them. Like, I don't know what it is. Like his singing was like just enough singing to be like, it just sounded really unique. His voice sounds unique. Like where a lot of those bands, you're like, oh yeah, this is the 90s. It sounds like Pearl Jam mixed with Alice in Chains or, whatever. And
Sure.
Which is also what made Nirvana sound so different, because like they were maybe influenced by a lot of the same people, but they sounded so unique because of Kurt's voice or how he sang or whatever. But but I felt like Chokebore is the same kind of like, oh, this doesn't sound, this like has some similarities to other bands, but this is super unique. And also these, like the time signatures and stuff, I feel like were things that ended up maybe later on, like with a lot of bands in like the late 90s. Kind of sounded like San Diego bands and stuff, like sounding that like like that kind of sound to a lot of it. Was super cool.
I always just think of those like open hi-hat kind of drum fills, and I think obviously I came to it through the drummer, through their temporary drummer in the middle of their career, Mike Featherston, who was my brother's best friend, and but it was just it's so like I feel unable to even like judge the band, where it just feels so much part of my biography.
Right.
I'm just like, whoa, this is a band, they tour.
Yeah,
this is so cool. I remember like going to Mike's house and he had like a map of the tubes or of the whatever, the subway in France or subway in Paris. I was like, oh, there's places, like I know people who've done things, like just so peripherally excited just for the stoke of just knowing anybody who played music outside of our town or outside of California. All of it was just like, this is the dream, this is it, just keep going. I was like, it literally felt like I had a friend who was on like the Lakers or something. I was like, wow. And like in hindsight, someone could tell me they were not that big of a band or it was not that kind of a thing. But I just think from my vantage point as a young person, knowing somebody in a touring band, it was like they were the Beatles for all I knew. It was just like, this was so cool.
Well,
like I knew somebody.
And I think it's such a good point that it really can change people's attitude when they know someone who's done something that they thought was impossible. Like that seems, or like it seems impossible when you're a kid. Like, well, I'm never going to go to Europe. I mean, like rich people go to Europe, it's just like, how do you even get there? And someone goes, you buy a plane ticket. What do you mean? How? Oh yeah, whatever. How much is a plane ticket?
Yeah.
Like back then, especially like, well, how much is a plane ticket? It's like $250 to get to England. $300. Wait, what? Really? It's only $300 to get to England? Yeah. Oh, and then what do you do there? well, we met a person and they booked a show for us, and that show is going to pay us $600. Oh,
Huh.
wait, so that you can do that? Yeah, you can do that. I'm actually doing that next week. And you just go, oh, wow, these things are
Huh.
possible. I mean, I think that happened with me later in life, but it wasn't, it was like in college that, that I met a couple people from Seattle when I went to school. And then, it was just this thing of like, oh yeah, let's go to, we're going to go to Seattle this weekend. You want to come? I'm like, what do you mean?
Just
We're just
drive
going
it.
to
Yeah.
Seattle for the weekend. Oh, you just drive to Seattle? Yeah, dude, it's 4.5 hours away. Like, oh yeah, it is, right?
You
And
can
you
just
just
do
like
that.
drive to
Like, what
Seattle.
do you do while you're there?
And then
Yeah.
one
How
of
you
the
get?
days we went to Portland and then we drove back to school. And I just went, wait, why haven't I done this before?
Why don't I do this
This
every
is
day? I could
crazy.
just. People live there. Can
Yeah.
I live there?
Like,
You
so
could
if
just.
I left at 6 in the morning, I could get to Seattle at 10:30 for like before lunch. I mean, it just,
I could.
and,
Yeah. Yeah. You
I've
just
had a
don't
lot
know
of,
if you haven't done it.
and I've had
Yeah.
a lot of things in my life too, where I just like think things are way more complicated than they really are. And I've always met a person that has done the thing that I go, oh right, you really can just do that, right? You just start calling people until it kind of starts working, right? Whatever it was, like even when we
Oh,
started our gallery, I'm like, you guys, we can't start a gallery. They're like, so we just need a space and we all have friends that are all artists, so yes, we can start a gallery. Like, oh yeah, right,
like
it's not this big deal
technically, yeah,
thing.
on the basic level.
Yeah,
Oh, it's wild. I mean, there's the same for me growing up here, like going to San Francisco. Just driving up to coming into San Francisco and driving over that bridge, the Bay Bridge, going in. You're like, this is really happening. I'm
yeah,
here.
it's amazing.
It's like it was like magic. It's like you kind of stare out the window for 4 hours through cow country,
Yeah,
and just nothing, and then all of a sudden you make that the last hour and a half or 2 hours you curve in, and you're going off the five through all these hills and windy things, and then it just literally feels like going to Disneyland.
yeah,
And you cross a big bridge, and everything smells like sourdough and
yeah,
weed,
yeah,
and it's cold. You got to wear a jacket, even though it was just 100
yeah,
degrees an hour ago.
yeah,
Now you're freezing, and everyone's cool, and everything's cool in life, and
yeah,
people skateboard, and like, oh, dude, how does this place exist?
yeah. No, I know. I
Mm.
feel I feel the same, and it really is so important to go through those things or put yourself out there to meet people who have done things.
Yeah,
I mean, I think a lot of those, and a lot of that too, even with the record label stuff or bands or anything, like even our band, when we played, like we really only got shows because we knew the other bands, and people would like, hey, come open for us at, we're playing Spaceland tonight or whatever, and or we're playing a party and we need a band or whatever, we're going
yeah,
down to Mexico, do you guys want to play? And but most of that, it had nothing to do with how good our band was or how many fans we had, which was maybe nine.
yeah, yeah.
Nine if we were lucky, maybe 12. We could usually impress some of the people from the other bands because we were so loud. uh,
Yeah,
anybody that
you
had
had that
had
big,
five or six beers.
soft check head. Yeah, like, okay,
Yeah,
that's gonna
anybody
work.
that had
It's
five
gonna
or
get a
six
fan
beers
right there.
already was
Yeah.
like instant fans for the night. But that but
Mm.
but most of it was just showing up and going like, hey, you should let us open for you guys, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or meeting someone at a magazine and going like, hey, here's my band or whatever. And just those little things of like, oh yeah, no, it's not as hard as you think it is, as long as you're open to going out and meeting people. And it's really about community and like, yeah.
Totally, 100%. Yeah, I mean, it opened my eyes. It was a huge thing, and I think it also just very much like put into focus what goals I wanted to achieve as a young person. Just knowing somebody in a band that toured and traveled the world and made records and went to studios, and just it was all the like I got to kind of hear, obviously, secondhand, third hand, accounts of what this was like. But I was like, that's enough. That's detailed enough. Anything that I don't know, I'm just gonna fill in with the fantasy of my head of what that must feel like or smell like or be like, and I think it just put me on that path. I don't think I would have played music as seriously or had so much as clear vision or as much of an ambition and drive if it wasn't for Mike joining Chokebore.
That's
I think
awesome.
that was something in my biography of just my own life of, like of wanting to play music and having a 4-track and learning to play guitar and being a huge fan of like Sonic Youth and Nirvana and the big, large popular bands on major labels and going to festivals and going to see shows. But that next element of like knowing a person and being able to talk to a person, and and Mike brought me back this like Return of the Jedi not reissue, what do they call it, the special editions when they did those in the 90s.
Yeah.
He like, it was like wheat pasted, it was huge, it was like the size of a wall, like 8 foot by 6 foot,
Oh my God.
giant wheat pasted Return of the Jedi poster from Italy, and it was in Italian, and like, but he
So
said it was like
awesome.
on the floor of the tour van for like 2 months, just getting beer spilled on, rolling around. It smelled like it and looked
Yeah.
like it. But again, it was just, but to me, that was
So
all
cool.
like all of that. Yes to all of this. Star Wars posters in other languages, beer spilling in vans, equipment, no sleep, being sick, and tour, like all of those, the things that sounded like they were hard or gross or weird. I was like, this is fun. Yes. I can't wait. I want all of those things.
Yeah.
You're like, well, you have to like, you don't sleep a lot. You sit in a van all day and you got to go play a smoky club and carry your equipment and no one really cares. Like, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
All
was
right.
awesome. I mean,
But there's just free alcohol everywhere and free food.
yeah.
Okay. Yes. Sign me up
Well,
for
and
all of
even
that.
the couple little tours, like we drove up to Portland or Seattle once and back down, and then we played mostly around here in LA, San Diego, and then we got to go to Australia for like 2 weeks. And
Mm.
but all of those times of like getting in the van and going, it really is uh like none of that other stuff matters. Like you can smell, like I can smell it now. Like I can smell a
Yeah.
van full of amps right
Oh
now,
yeah.
right?
It's
Like
great.
you have that like musty kind of like,
Yep.
wait, what are we doing tonight? Where are we going? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Just get
And then you
in.
get in and that
Stale coffee.
sound check, and then
Speedo.
waiting for
Yep.
nobody to show up and just being like, I just hope, I mean, please let it be 20 people. Just at least 20 people.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But it's so fun. In your
Yeah.
20s, so
It's
fun.
yeah, it's great.
So
It's
fun.
somewhere between like the Muppets and Stand by Me. You know what I mean? There's like
Right.
the excitement, naivete, and kind of immaturity of like the Muppets. Like, we're
Yeah.
gonna put on a show.
Yeah.
Wow! Like, come on, everybody! It's time to start the lights. It's time to like I think there's that version of it, and then there's also then just 4 kids, just getting like, oh, I don't know, man. You want to see a dead body? Like, okay, we gotta go. Wait,
Yeah.
I got a pocket knife.
Yep.
Oh wait, I got something. I got some water. Okay, let's go. Just four insecure, just immature, excited, nervous, but like also horribly misguided and probably maladjusted, emotionally
Yeah.
stunted men,
Yeah.
young men trying to survive in close proximity for months at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never
it's
being
terrible, horrifying, and exciting all at the same time.
never being really taught how to communicate with a small group of people and having to learn on the fly. When you get in
Yep.
a van, you're like, no, we've been just like practicing with this person. Like we've all been playing together for years, whatever. And then you get in the van for the first time and you spend like 3 days and you go,
Like,
you all
can
find
you
all these other things out about each other that you go, wait, what? Oh, you're it? Really? Okay. And they're finding it
yeah.
all out about you. And
Can you chew with your mouth closed?
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
yeah,
Are you peeing back there? Do not pee in the. We will pull over. Please stop peeing because it gets everywhere. Why are you doing this?
yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so funny.
It's great.
Trying to find places to. Wait, I thought you had a place to stay. No, I thought you got a place to stay.
Like,
No, you said you were going to call
no.
that person. No, I didn't.
Oh no.
Wait, you guys, it's 10 o'clock at night. We're all drunk. How
Okay,
are we
there's a rest stop over there. There's a parking
Oh,
lot next to a Walmart. We can
Yeah.
just sleep in the van. Everybody put the seats back.
And then someone just goes, "It's
Oh,
fine.
no.
I can just drive. I'll just drive. You guys sleep." Like
Oh
that
no.
thing. And you're like,
Yeah, it's not good. I
well,
was gonna go get some coffee and take a piss. I'll be
yeah,
fine.
yeah. Yeah, fun
On to the
times.
next one.
Yeah.
But it was great talking to Troy. I mean, I literally hadn't seen him in years, and it was so funny. I think I opened the interview with the story of recording Chokebore in
Yeah.
Mike's mom's garage on the 4-track. I mean, I'd probably just had the 4-track, 2 or 3 years, but I was already so excited about it. And I would just play and record stuff all the time, so I knew enough how to press record on a 4-track.
Yeah.
And I assumed I gave them the tape. It was so funny that he remembered the experience, but never had a copy of that recording.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that all that I handed it to somebody. I don't think I would have just not turned it in. But I don't know. But at the same time, it was so long ago and I was such a young kid. Maybe I just was like, oh, I can't do it. And maybe I totally just blew it and didn't do
That's
anything
so
with it.
funny though.
I really want to go. I want to go through a box of. I know I have boxes and boxes of tapes. I just
Yeah.
haven't had the time since the interview to go search and
Oh,
see if
that'd
it's
be
out there.
amazing.
But it was funny. Yeah, when he said he's like that song had never come out. Like that was like an unreleased song.
Yeah.
It'd be really funny all these years later to uncover it. Maybe this will be an ongoing narrative arc.
Yeah. There you
Maybe
go.
to
That's
uncover
your
this song.
your finding Chokebore. The Randy Randall experience.
Today on Finding Chokebore.
Finding Chokebore.
What happened to the tapes? You got to do the Philip Glass music in the background.
Let's start in 1989. We have a young boy with a new best friend.
Yeah. Well, okay. We can work this up.
Yeah.
This can be done.
This could be it.
But yeah, so I knew, but I was just, I was horribly insecure and just, but so excited. And it was like, this is fun. You know, when I think Mike says, I'm like, oh, we need to record a demo, but we don't have any money. And I was like, I have a 4-track. Let's do it. I think Mike could know, I was just, but it was the kind of thing where like my room at that point, like from most of high school, I got my 4-track when I was a freshman in high school. And slowly my room just turned into, just equipment everywhere, whatever I could get. And I didn't have any real money for anything, but it was still just like, practice guitar amps, a guitar,
awesome.
and then like the little keyboard my friend let me have because he got it for free from his church, this Yamaha DX7, which turned out to be a cool thing. And then I got a little sampler, and then have a record player, and then have just stuff. I ended up like getting rid of my bed and I wanted like a day bed, just like something small
to
push in the corner. I was like, this bed is taking up too much room in my bedroom. I needed less. I was a kid and didn't need much room to sleep, or I needed the room, but like my feet went through like the poles. It was the kind of thing. I was like a little small, a day bed is like a girl's bed.
That
just has like the back, like a three walls or something, but it was all poles, so my feet could stick through it, but it took up less room, so I could sleep with my feet hanging off of it.
That's amazing.
In the corner, like on a bench. And I had a friend come over, and it was a girl, and she said something. She's like, it looks like Radio Shack threw up all over your room. It was just like wires and cables and things, and I would just be trying different stuff and just trying to solder things or trying to just put things together and just to make weird sounds. Like, what would this sound like? What would that sound like? What if I put this over there? What if I put this over here? I had a metal ladder in the middle of the room for months.
I love it.
A lot of misguided attempts, but I was very excited about it. I was like,
building
let's go.
Studios from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know. Yeah. But it was always really fun, but it just takes me back to all that time. And then but I don't really know what happened to Chokebore. It was the kind of thing too, like once Mike left the band, like, so I moved in with Mike in Hollywood. That was the first place I had there on Melrose and La Brea.
Yeah.
Is because Mike already had the rent on the lease on it, and he thought he was going to be on the road for all of 99 for that summer or for that most of that year. And I'm so curious. It seemed like Troy, whatever, he was being polite. He didn't know. He didn't really say. It seemed like the road had just gotten to Mike or something. Just the long travels or something. So I'm so curious what the actual story was, because I remember there was a conversation with Mike, like, oh, so I'm not going on tour, so, you can go ahead and move out now. And I was like, I'm 18. Like, I just moved everything, start school in like 2 months. Like, I don't really have another option. I'm not staying I gave up staying at the dorm.
Yeah.
Like, this was the plan I had for the next, 12 months was to live here, or 10 months to get through this first year of college. And he was nice enough to be like, okay, fuck it. Whatever. You're fine. Just stay here then. But I think at first he was a little bummed, like, I don't want you living here with me anymore, kid.
Yeah.
Like, but I have nowhere else to go.
Well,
I don't know.
Was that the place that you guys all ended up living in, or is it different?
Yeah.
So he ended up moving out, and then you ended up living there with a bunch of different people over the years.
So we lived together for probably the first 2 years, or at least a year and a half. And then I think he figured out that he wanted to go back to Europe. And that was the other thing too. I think it was obvious, or maybe it was a subtext to the conversation with Troy, but I think Chokebore did really well in Europe.
Yeah.
Like better than they did in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think their tours over there, like, where more people would come, and it was a bigger, played bigger venues and all these things. So I think that they did really well in France. So then Mike ended up moving to France, or at least going to visit a woman, and then moving in with her and just kind of staying there. So, but it was again unclear of like if he was coming back in a month or two, or it was just kind of like, all right, I'm taking. He never said he was moving out. He just never came back.
I love that. I love the
So
young. I mean, because he wasn't that much older than you, right? He's like
no, maybe 10
10
years.
years older.
Yeah, 10, 11
So at
years,
that point,
something
he
like
was
that.
still
Yeah.
only like 28, 29, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was kind of facing his own dilemma. He was the main story of his story,
Yeah.
going from 20s in a touring band to then into his 30s and starting another life. What's going to happen next for him? And
Yeah.
here he has this younger kid brother who I've probably been annoying, pain in his ass for the last 8 years.
You're probably less annoying than you think you were.
I don't know. Maybe. thinking back to the situations, I thought I was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I'd have to imagine the patience would run out.
I had a couple people in my life that the patience ran out. Where I was like,
Yeah.
"What? No, I mean, no. Okay, yeah, all right. See you later." And then later, I'm like, "Oh my god, did I really ask them if I could like stay at their house for 3 months?
Yeah,
Rent free. I didn't pay or anything." Okay.
That's the other side of the coin of like, you could just do anything. You just got to meet the right people. It's community. It's all positive.
Yeah.
And the other side is like, it could also be.
You also have to be the annoying person that figures
doesn't pick up
out.
social cues.
Yeah. What do you mean? Why wouldn't you want me staying in your extra bedroom? It's like there's no one in there.
You have to find the right codependent person at the right time of their life
God.
who's willing to put up with you and you're like
just like
finding yourself years.
Yeah.
Like, there's people out there who are older than you who are willing to put up with a young person finding themselves.
Yeah. Someone's just like, you know what? Because probably in their younger days, they're like, all right, here it is. I have to give back because this is what I did to someone when I was 18.
Totally. I feel that way.
Totally.
Exactly.
I know. And I'm waiting for it too. And I'm waiting for it to be get older and just like, okay, here they are.
Yeah.
Here's me when I was younger. All right, now what do you need, kid? Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Just wait till your kids get into their 20s. Like, hey, Dad, here's my best friend Dixon. Can he just like crash on our couch?
Yeah, totally.
For like a couple months or a year?
Can I? I'm fixing my car. Can I store? I noticed you have an empty spot in your driveway.
Oh no!
Can I? Yes. It'll be something like, and you'll just go. Oh, I know.
Pay it forward.
I really know where this is going, but I have to just this kid needs this moment, and I just need to go. Okay, here's my payback. This isn't so bad. Yeah, it'll come. It'll come soon.
Yeah. So I'm paused to tell the rest of the story. However, I feel like I'm an old man when I can tell the story now.
Yep.
But so that apartment that I ended up moving into, I went to. I didn't live there yet, but I knew, I knew I was going to move into there at some point. It was a few months, notice, whatever. I wasn't like, hey, can I move in with you? I was like, we talked about it for months. So say this was probably like April, and I was saving up for prom, which was going to be somewhere in downtown LA. But I would drive out there all the time to hang out with Mike and our other friend Niaz and other friends and go to shows or just go hang out. And it was fun having a friend that lived there, and I had a car now and I was a senior. And, well, so I guess two stories. So first story is we got robbed at gunpoint, like in front of the house. I forget if I've told this story on the air.
Wait, this is during prom or this is completely
This was
unrelated?
Just before.
Okay.
It leads up to prom. This was like a week, 2 weeks before prom. But because the guy stole my prom money, I had like a Mickey Mouse plastic wallet from Disneyland because I had just quit working. My first job was at Disneyland, so I had one of those like souvenir plastic Disneyland wallets that little kids would have.
Yeah.
But I had like $60 in it to buy the prom tickets the next day. And that was a lot of money for a kid. And so anyway, that got stolen there on Melrose. And so that was fucked up. But then I ended up going to prom and my car broke down after the prom. Like we went to we were driving around Hollywood and going to go do something after prom. And then so I ended up so a car broke down. It was like after midnight, didn't really know what to do with no cell phones. But I got the car towed to that apartment there on Melrose.
Okay.
Or to the back house. So there.
Yeah.
And then I just like knocked on the door. It was like late, but I figured like, oh, Mike probably let me in. And James, who played bass in Chokebore, I think was staying on the couch. And he's like, oh yeah, Mike's not here. And I woke him up in the middle of the night. He's like, oh yeah, no, Mike's not here. And I was like, oh, cool. Can I come in? Can we just like stay the night? Like me and my prom date. I was like, can we just stay the night in his room? Because I knew I was going to be moving in there. So again, this is kind of probably the presumptuous person I was. But he's also like, oh, no one's there. And I was like, so
he's also a touring musician who's like, yeah,
he didn't give a fuck.
This kind of stuff.
Probably
drunk,
I don't care. Whatever. Yeah. You're a kid. Yeah. So I ended up staying the night there at that apartment. and before I properly lived there, um, but then ended up like losing my virginity that night, like prom night, in this apartment where I would later go on to live after I'd already gotten like mugged. I'd been robbed at gunpoint, and then car broke down, and then all this, and so it was hilarious that like as the years would go on, and I did live there, I was like, this is really like, this is the place I like lived. This was like so much of my life happened around here, but it's also so funny to think about all of the things that were entwined with like Chokebore as a band and all like the weird, and
Oh
I
my
saw
God.
them a handful. I saw them open up for Agent Orange at the Roxy. I
Oh
saw them
wow.
play it at Jabberjaw.
Hmm.
And again, I was an annoying young kid who just was so excited about music and wanted
Yeah.
to go to all these things. But I do feel like Chokebore was like kind of my entry to so many things in my life,
That's
or
amazing.
adjacent, or
Yeah.
around, or facilitated, or was next to, or all these insane, just moments of my adolescence.
Well, it's weird, and
Because,
it's weird that music. I mean, especially if you're involved in music or like a scene or whatever, that a band can be a part of your life without them knowing it.
right?
Right? I mean,
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
like this is a little different because you knew the drummer and stuff, but without the band, like Chokebore was just cemented into your brain as like this is my band growing up.
yeah,
Like this is like my band growing up. And that for them, they're just like touring and whatever, but you're just like,
yeah.
no, no, no.
But
Your band
there's a kid somewhere in Southern California just
means
so
so much
invested in
more.
the success of your
Well,
band.
and you
Yeah,
guys, I mean, I'm sure
yeah.
no age, like you would get kids that would come up and like, oh my God, your band changed my life. And you're like, okay, I don't understand how, but
It's like,
thank you. That's
awesome. Who do you want me to
amazing.
make this out to? I can sign this for you. No,
but
it's insane.
but it's funny that music can do that, that you can like that you can find music or a band or even see someone at a show and just go, oh, this is the perfect time for me to hear this song or to see
Yeah,
this show, and it can completely like dovetail your whole existence. Like it
yeah.
really can. Like I remember even in college, my friend Bill Zacapico, shout out to Bill, who was like one of my main friends that were like, here's a new band you need to listen to. He'd just like this. He'd come over to our dorm room and he'd put on records, and it'd be like, Op Ivy, or it would be whatever. But then it became like Drive Like Jehu, and it became any of those bands or Minutemen, or like just all of these bands where I'm like, what? I don't even know what this is. Like you'd hear the song and go, I have no reference for this. I don't know. This just sounds like this is insane. But it would just like, I need to hear, what is this? Oh, well, you have to know this band. And we actually went to high school together too. And he was one of the first, I remember it in science class. He'd have his Walkman and he'd be like, I got this new band, Green River. You heard of Green River? And they're like, no, they're from
Mhm.
Seattle. There's this great scene coming out of Seattle right now. I mean, we were probably 15. We're from
Wow.
Spokane. Like,
How is
I
he
don't know.
so open to this
He'd
stuff?
probably,
How was he getting
I don't
it?
know. He would go down to the 4,000 Holes. Have you ever been to that record store in
No,
Spokane? Oh, you got to
no.
go. I think they're
Oh,
still
this is
open
great.
next time you go
Amazing.
up there. But
It's a good name.
yeah, and he would go, and they had a whole punk thing, and all the punk bands were there and stuff, and so probably from there, I guess. But so he'd be like Green River, and he's like, and then maybe even Pearl Jam because they weren't big yet. But then he brought in Bleached, and he's like, oh,
Um,
this band, this is Nirvana is like the best. It's da, da, da. And then I remember driving to school. I mean, it would have been my junior year, probably '92.
mhm.
Um, and I was like, Bill, I heard Nirvana on the radio this morning. I heard that band Nirvana that you showed me, and he's like, yeah, fuck those guys, man, sellouts.
Oh no.
But it
They just
was
signed to a
really,
major label.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. He's like, oh man, whatever. But it was really, but it was like of that time. I was like, oh yeah. But he would always, I would always listen to whatever he brought was great, and it was like, oh yeah, this music. Now you need to listen to this music. And I'm like, I guess I'm into new music, you know. And
Yeah, you had a conduit for it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then but
the
then even
trusted
then,
source.
and he ended up playing in a band, with a couple of kids from Spokane, and then they would play down in Pullman all the time, and called Kate Popeden, and then they would open up for all of these bands that would come through there. I mean, this was like 92, 93, 94, like punk bands and stuff. And that's when I didn't have a camera yet, but that's when I started going to shows. And then when I got a camera, like my sophomore, junior year, then I started taking photos of bands, and then was like, oh, this is a thing. Like, they need photos. I need things to
Yep.
take pictures of. I love going to shows. And if I have a camera, half the time I can get into the show for free. As long as
You found your sweet spot.
And you find that thing of like, and then that's how I ended up in Portland. That's how I ended up in LA. That's how I know you. That's how, it's like all of those things of like that music. There's something about music, even more than art or anything else, that I think like propels people to like into these weird little spaces of like whatever music you like. That's kind of like you end up
filtering. It's like the sorting hat in Harry Potter.
Totally.
Yeah, put this hat on. Hold on. I'm hearing Limp Bizkit. Okay, you go to New Metal Tribe. Yes. I am hearing Nirvana. Yeah. Okay, you come over here.
Get some
Jesus Lizard.
Jeans.
Okay,
yes.
you're going over
totally.
there. Yeah,
totally.
I'm hearing Wham. Okay, you're going over there.
Yeah. Good choice.
Yeah.
Trust me, they will be much more cool later on in life. It will be cool to listen to Wham.
I mean, that's the kind of thing too, where like, start at the beginning of the episode or whatever, just talking shit on bands. Like, it felt personal. And also, it was that kind of thing. It's like that Michael Jordan meme. It's like, your band sucked. And I took that personally. Like, that really hurt me. Like, like, why would you make such bad music when there's such great music out there that people don't know about? And here are these huge major label bands on giant festival stages, just blatantly sucking. And it's just like, I couldn't understand that, because I think music was so personal to me. And I think still to this day it is. I hold on to some of those just sort of beliefs of like, I hold these, ideas to be, these beliefs to be self-evident. Like, good music.
All bands are not created equal.
Yeah, no. All music is not created equal. Some music is better than other music.
Yeah.
But it comes from this lifelong, personal connection to music, and music playing such an important part of my life that, even like the Avenged Sevenfold shit we're listening to this morning, going to summer camp. I was just kind of like, they didn't even really support like the melody in that chorus at this point now, as like as a seasoned, lifelong songwriter, producer, it's like, they went for this big chorus. There's no like, you could have done a guitar overdub just to kind of like brighten up that thing and support that note that he can barely sing. Like, it's not even just that they wrote the song badly, but it's also produced badly. And it's also, like, they didn't really like, you could really make that part sing, like all these other songs you're ripping off. It's like, you didn't rip off the good parts of the song. You ripped off like the bad parts of the song. And you get to this point, like, you could really open that up. Why not introduce like a synth line under there? Like, it's the thing, those like, with Guns N' Roses, for whatever you feel about them, those are well produced records that have like all kinds of instruments and all kinds of overdubs and synths pads everywhere to kind of like add this epicness to all these things. You know what I mean? It's string arrangements and giant string sections, and Metallica, all of that stuff has well produced sounds. Again, if the content isn't your bag, you can still listen to it and go, okay, Lars doesn't know how to play a drum fill to save his life, but that snare sounds tight and punchy, and it's coming through the mix. You know what I mean? That's the other thing. I'd never listened to a lot of Metallica, but now the writer keeps wanting to listen to Master of Puppets over and over again on the car. It's like a 18-minute long track with like multiple parts, but every fill, I never understood why people hated Lars so much, but now I'm understanding these fills are like, pop, they're like, pick a thing. You kind of like, you sped up that one part and then you didn't play enough notes over here, and you played too many notes over there. I don't think that's really a style as much of a like, oh fuck, I forgot, I guess better speed up and play a bunch more.
Well, the story with Lars too, the story with Lars too is that it takes forever to record him playing drums because he has no timing.
I mean, it's really the fills. You can hear it. Like, I feel bad. I don't ever, whatever. I don't know the guy, but I've always had heard that joke, and I don't know anything about anything. You know, I just would hear the 10 seconds of whatever song people were playing. I'm like, yes, this all just sounds stupid because I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
But I was like, but the song's in time. Like, you can't say he's a bad drummer. Like, I'm hearing the 10 seconds I heard of that song sounded in time.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't sound bad. But then now that we've examined Master of Puppets for the last 2 months since the Fallout crossover.
Oh, I love those records.
It's yeah. Oh.
But I was metal. I was
yeah.
like a metal kid in high
Yeah.
school, or like, getting into metal, and then became more into metal. But
it's a different world.
Yeah,
it's a different world. I mean, you know, I guess it was a more hard rock thing, but anything that's considered metal, there's like a narrow base for what a guitar can kind of do.
Yes,
it's this. You know,
I mean,
there's like 4 or 5 modality of
the thin razor blade guitars.
Yeah, this stuff. Yeah, and then the bass and the kick drum come in. You're like, oh, okay, now there's a whole song.
Yeah.
But as soon as everything cuts out, it's
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the guy to judge that one.
Yeah.
Before talking shit, I will just stay away from it unless you're Buck Cherry or anyone else to play the 99 lineup. I just couldn't believe how like nostalgic this person was posting about this. Like, wow, can you believe this epic lineup 25 years ago? I wish I was there.
Like,
I'm just like,
so Fred Durst has his tour or whatever. Like Limp Bizkit has a tour out right now, which is called
Are they doing that now? The Loser Fest?
The Loser Fest or something? Yeah.
They're trying to be like Insane Clown Posse.
It's
like embrace their like dumbness.
Yeah, it's like Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
But then the Nate, what's his name? Nate No Face
Nate.
Do you know him?
I don't
like
know
him
personally.
I mean, I've never met him, but I like his vibe and his songs and like that kind of like slow electronic dark emo whatever. And like when I hear that, and I'm like, and so it's funny that he's on that tour, and when he keeps showing, because I follow him on Instagram, and he keeps showing the like the crowds and everything, and I'm like, and him, like everybody loving him, and I'm like,
yeah, that's
okay,
cool.
I back this. This
Good
is
for
100%.
him.
Yeah, this is
great.
amazing. So but it was funny, but I'm like, oh my god. Then shows like the Limp Bizkit crowd went, and I'm like, these kids are really into, like, this isn't a joke at all. Like, these kids are like, no, I'm a Limp Bizkit fan, and it's a lot of really young people too. Although a lot of middle school kids last year were really into Korn. I think that's coming back. A lot of it
could happen.
Also,
I'll keep an eye out for if they do a Fortnite crossover. I'm going to listen to it for the next 6 months.
Also, a lot of those kids are into Deftones, which was surprising to me because I didn't think, not because I feel like in that genre they always got kind of pigeonholed into that genre, but they weren't really. I feel like they were much more above that genre. I don't know
Deftones.
Oh, you don't know them?
Guys.
Oh, okay.
Not really. I mean, I've heard the name, but again, it just sounded like nu metal or rap rock.
But it wasn't
something.
rap. Like it was more like singing, and I don't know. The songs were better. And Chino's super cool, and I don't know. Those guys are like
people. People also searched for Korn, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit,
totally. And
Radiohead.
But they were in that.
Radiohead meets Slipknot.
When they were in that like group, they were always grouped in those people, but they were much different. But so then a lot of kids were into Deftones now too, and like they're having a resurgence with younger people, which I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll take that.
Good for them.
And you know what?
I mean, hey, everybody should go out there and make money. Go make the money if it's out there for you.
Even Slipknot, like kids are into Slipknot now. And but then like even Lila was playing a song. I was like, who is this? She's like, Slipknot. I'm like, this is Slipknot? This is much more like detailed and good songwriting than I thought Slipknot was. It was some like radio. I mean, it's like some heavy radio song, but with singing.
That's great.
I'm like, I guess maybe it's me. Maybe it's my problem.
Maybe your problem all along.
Maybe I just looked at the masks and I was like, it just must be like war or something.
With music, like you can never tell what you're missing. You know what I mean? Totally. It's the kind of thing like it's not like, oh my god, you won't believe it. Like that's like never true. Past a certain age, like after 25, after 30, I have never have the experience like, oh my God, you haven't heard this? You would love this. And I actually love it.
Yeah.
I think just that approach, and I'm automatically like, no, I'm not going to love it. But movies, like you would love this, or TV shows, or books, or other things. People go, oh, you'd really like this, and I watch it or read it or do something like, oh, I really like that. I was pleasantly surprised. But for some reason, music, you know,
music is repetitive
after a certain point in your life,
and it's only audio. It's only audio. I think movies are different because you usually only watch a movie once, maybe twice.
Right.
But music is like something you want to go like, do I want to listen to this tomorrow though?
It's a smaller investment. Yeah. Like you hold like a more scrutiny on music because you know if you like it, you're going to listen to it a lot. So it's got to be really good. Whereas like a TV show or a movie or even a book, you're like, yeah, that was actually pretty good. Wow.
Okay, I was entertained.
I'm never going to watch that again, but I watched it once and said, sounds good. I finished it.
Yeah.
Versus, that song, I don't know about that guy.
I mean, even
I'm not going to commit my whole life and the rest of my lifestyle and change all my fashion around to fit this thing. It's like liking a new band at a certain age is just, it's a real heavy ask. It's a real heavy.
Do you know what my friends would say if they heard me listening to this? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Turn this off.
I got to buy a hat. I got to buy something else. It's like, this isn't, you can't just suddenly show up one day at whatever activity you do and just have a new band merch on. Like, wait a second.
Unfortunately,
why are you
shirt?
Why are you wearing a Slipknot shirt? Like, wow, right. I just discovered them. I really like them. Like
that's actually a really good point. That it's like, if you're gonna really back a band, the way you would know is if you go like, would I wear their T-shirt in public?
Right.
If the answer is no, then you don't like the music enough.
If you're gonna, can your love for or appreciation or tolerance for this band withstand a conversation at a grocery store checkout line?
Yeah,
with somebody about that band shirt you happen to be wearing. Like, can you defend it, or would you enjoy talking about the band to some stranger while you're waiting to check out for your groceries?
If someone
the answer's no, then don't listen to that band.
If someone walks up to you and goes, "Bro," and you're like, "You're ready," you're like, "Yep." Did you see
One
it?
of us.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
It's from the third album.
Let's fucking talk about it, bro.
That got tour dates on the back.
Fuck. Yeah. No, you were there.
Amazing.
I remember early on, like, first couple of years of, living in Hollywood, I saw At the Drive-In play at Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah.
And it was a small show, but I got like the t-shirt, and I got the sticker or whatever it was. And I put the sticker on my car and I would drive from Hollywood to downtown, to go to school every day. And I remember somebody pulling up behind me, and I think I was probably listening to Via or something on like my CD player. I was like stoked. I was like, I fucking love this band. I was the right, I was 18.
Yeah.
And I just saw them play to like 50 people in the middle of the day at a college. And I remember the person behind me like came up and like honked, like, fuck yeah. And he like pointed at me like, At the Drive-In, like, yeah, At the Drive-In. All right. This is awesome.
That's amazing.
I was ready to go. And like, he's like, you like At the Drive-In? I was like, I do like At the Drive-In. Yeah. They're awesome.
Where are you going right now? I'm going to school.
Like, let's go.
Huh.
Fuck yeah.
Want to grab something? You want to grab a coffee?
Yeah. No.
We left it there.
But that person I've probably seen that person 100 times since that moment. Probably. Neither one of us know that he was the one that honked him at the Drive-In sticker.
You're the guy.
He probably did sound for us at a show 10 years later.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. Well, we've gone past the hour mark. We're really feeling ourselves here.
Yeah, we are.
Talking shit about music. Sweet spot.
On this Monday, July 29th.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're stoked on music. I talked to two new younger bands, and I think I'm going to do the next 2 Thursdays. We're going to have Pocket Full of Crumbs and Gollum. I met a PR person, Joe, who plays drums in this band Dummy, and we were talking about new bands, and it's great because it's the kind of thing too. Like, I don't know how as much shit as I love to talk about not liking new music, I do want to like new bands. I don't necessarily want to like all new music, but if you're in a band and you're young and you're struggling and you're, or not struggling, but you know what I mean, you're doing the thing, you're putting out music and touring and stuff. It's like, definitely want to throw support to those bands, especially if they're touring, and any attention would help, get more people, into the venues.
Yeah.
So I think this Thursday we're going to have Golem on. They're from Columbus, Ohio. They're going to be on the East Coast in 2 weeks. And then Pocket Full of Crumbs are from San Francisco. I talked with them.
That's awesome.
And they both have records out. They're on Spotify. They're on the Bandcamps. Again, I just thought it's the kind of thing where like I can appreciate young people starting new bands and how hard that is. and everything about it. And it's fun. I kind of feel like grandpa a little bit talking to them. I'm like, okay, what are things like now? Like when I started this was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was a very different world musically. Like, so, but yeah, I think they're both really cool bands. So anyway, so Joe sent me some music of people he was helping out, and I picked a couple that I was really stoked on. I liked their music and liked what they're doing.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so Golem from Columbus, Ohio, and Pocket Full of Crumbs from San Francisco. Those will be our next 2 weeks, and then I got Tim Biscup coming on after that.
Yes.
I got a whole bunch of stuff here
Love
that I
Tim.
think will take us through to the end of the year. Lots of good interviews coming up, and more good ones after that. I think we got a pretty good little 2024 shaping up for us.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't
All right.
wait.
Well, I will see you on Thursday with Golem from Columbus, Ohio.
Awesome.